Well, hello there and a good day to you. Welcome to the daily download with yours truly right here. Today is Tuesday, March 10th, 2026. We're going to take a look at what the astrology has to say for us today. And what are we doing about it today? The last video was about our signature in our action, our stance. What are we, whoops. Oh, what are we agreeing to? Sorry about that. Let's see here. Oh boy. Oh, here we go. Here we go. So we had the time change and it's dark outside. It's not even 7 o'clock in the morning. So let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this. Hope I'm doing this right. What are we looking at today? Well, right, that was we were talking about the energies of Saturn and Neptune and Venus in Aries. So Venus has moved on from Saturn and we are in a reality check of what we're agreeing to, or better yet, what we're not agreeing to. That's really more what it's all about. What are we not agreeing to? What are we not signing? And that sets us on a course to cross our T's and dot our I's and agree to something when Mars arrives in Aries in April 9th. So best bet is that right now we are clearly not agreeing to something, which allows us to eliminate that trajectory. And we are getting our ducks in a row for something that we are agreeing to, which will arrive as Mars in the spring, right? The sun arrives in Aries on the spring equinox. When the sun arrives in Aries on the spring equinox, it will meet Neptune. And that's kind of like opening the door and hello, what are you doing here? Hello, dream come true. Hello, prayer answered. Hello, surprise, right? Mars is going to meet Neptune and Aries for the first time in our lives. The sun is going to arrive in Aries and meet Neptune there for the first time in our lives. So it's a bit of a surprise. And we talked about it before. It has to do with a prayer answered in God's grace. It can also be a reality check in terms of not a Saturnian reality check, but more of a wishful thinking, illusion, disillusionment, and anyway, so that's what we're headed into. Before that happens, Mars is going to connect with that North Node. We're feeling it now already in Pisces. Mars had a lot of activity going on here in Aquarius, shaking things up, creating some chaos. And then Mars arrived in Pisces, which is more of a healing aspect, sleeping aspect, slumber, meditation, recharging, going into ICU, coming out of ICU. And, but, there's also Mars in Pisces is also activating the realm where we have spiritual warfare. Holy wars and the such, and Mars on and spiritual deception, right? Spiritual warfare is connected to spiritual deception. And Mars being activated with the North Node in Pisces, a time has arrived. An initiation is set in motion. It's the last chapter of the book. And there's an end. We're coming full circle to something. We are absolutely coming full circle to something. And what happens when we come full circle to something is then the circle turns into a spiral. And if you guys followed me from back in the day, you remember the spiral staircase. So we can see that in our own personal lives. Where are we reaching the completion of a very large cycle so that we can begin something brand spanking new. Brand spanking new. And remember that Mars in relationship to Neptune is a mutual conception, a mutual conception. And it's disorienting, to say the least. So if you're down in the water, scuba diving, and you lose your sense of which way is up, which way is down, that could be life-threatening. It's kind of that same, there's definitely a sense of disorientation. There's definitely a sense of being in the twilight zone. What is going on here? And misinformation, disinformation, psyop, storytelling is very, very high. And nonetheless, like back in 2020, 2021, where's Fauci now? Yeah. So, and I'll say there's one horse is out of the barn. That's the 2020, 2021 horse. That was, I said it back then, and huge psyop. Total social engineering and experiment on humanity. And that has been proven true to, this day. Same thing, it's like it's a continuous psyop operation on planet Earth. And so hopefully we have our truth radar compass inside of us, you know, and the way, I mean, we can also, we can also look at Pluto in Aquarius, um, along with everything in Pisces, meaning the North Node in Pisces, and then, Neptune in Aries. If you look at these, Pluto in Aquarius. Okay, so let's just Pluto in Aquarius in a sextile to Neptune and Saturn in Aries. So the disclosure, I'm a teenager from the 80s and 90s. I'm a teenager from the early 90s. I listened to Art Bell, I watched the X-Files. I was all into, the alien agenda, as many of you guys will remember. And shouting at the top of a mountain, about UFOs and intergalacticals and this and that. And then the Tic Tac came, and it was all over the news, and everybody was talking about the Tic Tac and the Air Force that, got it on radar, and we're like, oh my God, what is this? And then we have Obama saying that, we have aliens. And I'm just like, what is going on here? Right. So probably so after 2020, Fauci psyop happened, right after that, then things kind of calmed down a little bit, and then all of a sudden they started the soft disclosure on UFOs, right? And they made this whole hoo-ha about changing its names to UAPs. That was weird. Like, why change the name of it? Why can't you just say UFOs, unidentified flying objects? But now it's unidentified aerial phenomenon, right? And then you have people in Congress speaking about it, and so soft disclosure was happening. This is Pluto in Aquarius, and this is Neptune in Aries in a sextile. My personal perspective on what this is has completely changed since the 90s. And so anyway, so it's like, and then the AI agenda and Elon Musk, and what the field of AI computing is creating a point, like a horizon point or whatever that's called, where there's no return from it, where they will be self processing, and the field of AI is where AI supersedes anything the human race can do in terms of speed and accuracy. And as I was speaking with someone the other day, and of course it's like, well, who is generating the AI? Well, we are, through our computers. Who's inputting the information into the AI field? We are, in everything that we do. Our shopping online, our avatar, uh, you know, anything we put in chat GPT or Gemini, or even gaming, it's a whole realm of Aquarius, Pluto. And of course, biblically, it's, and spiritually, it's the archons, in my opinion. Those are the archons infusing their way into our reality. And then, the alien agenda, the disclosure project is all fallen angels. So, a whole herd of horses. Is that what they're called? A herd of horses? I don't know. Horses have galloped out the barn, and there's this whole other herd of horses that are still in the barn. They haven't been let out yet. And that's what is entering, right? This is and we'll see, when Pluto makes its way through Aquarius, the same way Pluto made its way through Capricorn. And at about 25 degrees of Capricorn, when we had the South Node, remember, we had the South Node on Pluto and the eclipses happening there. 2020 happened, and the whole world was shut down. And I remember 6 months prior to that happening, talking about the chart, going, holy, something is going to happen that has never happened before. But now, the psyop is happening in Aquarius, and it's got to do with everything I just mentioned, in a sextile to Neptune and Saturn in Aries. Wow. They're, and the beauty of it is God permits it all. And that's where the power of inquiry comes in. God permits it all. God's in charge of the fallen angels. God's in charge of the archangels. God's in charge of it all. But we're about to, go for a pretty wild ride. And then the North Node, right? Just you wait until that North Node arrives in Aquarius, right? And just you wait for that South Node to arrive in Leo. Where in the 1990s, I was all about, the Pleiades, the star children, not a chance today. Not a chance today. So, North Node in Aquarius, Pluto in Aquarius, radical shift. And, even what's happening right now. There's a biblical, prophetic, spiritual war, deception, illusion, focus on Aries. Now, this can also be a lot of fun. Don't you get me wrong. So in our personal lives, having all this in Aries and having all this in Aquarius, and I'm referring also to when the North Node arrives in Aquarius. It's not there yet, but this is igniting, in our personal lives, something very exciting, very fun, challenging, explosive, dynamic, never done before. So if you're heading into a never done before territory in your own personal life that feels really life-changing in a dynamic, mind-blowing way. Yes, fun, life-giving, joyful, adventurous, daring, courageous, a little scary. You're like, have you ever been skydiving? And also keep in mind that by then we will have Uranus over yonder in Gemini. Yeah, yes, we are. And wait for that air trine to Pluto in a sextile over yonder. So again, fear cannot be part of the equation. Easier said than done. Remember that God's in charge of all the heavenly bodies. God is in charge of all the hellish realms. And there is something huge being played out. Wow. That's all I'm going to say today about this. We've got the moon in Sagittarius. Black moon Lilith is in Sagittarius. That's the archer, just getting that bullseye. Getting that bullseye. Sagittarius is also, having a lot to do with aiming high, aiming for the truth. Well, the truth is a convoluted stories of deception, mirages, and hidden agendas. And the truth, right? You really want the truth. You go ahead, let's go. You can't handle the truth, right? And the ruler of Sagittarius, Jupiter, is stationing to go direct. Let me get my little notes out here. Where are my glasses? Oh, Jupiter in Cancer. Let me see here. Oh, God. Jupiter is going to go direct on the 11th. Tomorrow. Today, tomorrow. So, Jupiter. Oh, lucky Jupiter. Right. So, make sure you stay with the South Node in Virgo as a safety net. Your safety net actually is your discernment, your stringent application, your attention to detail. But look at all of the heavy hitter. This is a heavy hitter right here. All of this going on. Heavy hitter. Heavy. Think. Take time to process. Figure out. Solve the problem. Get the answer. Get the solution. Prepare the remedy. Go clean up. Go get the broom and sweep behind the door and under the sofa and in the corners. Go look around and investigate and know that, you're cleaning stuff out. You're removing the debris. You're cleansing. You're preparing. Think about it. Think logically without the emotions. Right? So South Node in Virgo, what time is it? Is in a square to that black moon Lilith in Sagittarius. Be sharp. Be sharp. Get the cobwebs out of the brain. Do some breathing exercises. Clear your mind of, what on earth is going on here, right? You're scuba diving, not sure which way's up or down. You're down there deep, 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 deep in the abyss. Which way's up, which way's down. It might be disorienting. Twilight zone, mutual reception between Mars and Neptune. What is going on here? Something's being played out. I think it's just amazing to me how much happened in 2020, 2021, and 2022. And we're done with that story. Like time doesn't slow down for us. Time is not going to slow down for us. One of the most sobering realities is that when somebody dies, life continues. The world continues. The earth is still spinning on its axis. The seasons still come. Like, time doesn't stop because somebody dies. That's probably one of the harshest reality checks is like, time doesn't stop. And it's that same kind of like I'm just like noticing we're entering. You thought 2020 and 2021, 2022, when they literally tried to shut down the world, and they did. We are entering something so drastically changing for us. And it has to do with AI, quantum computing, AI. It has to do with alien agenda, disclosure agenda, and spiritual warfare. And getting launched like, and think of the story of David and Goliath. We're Davids. We're small. And we have our, little piece of rock in our, whatever that's called. I can't think of the name right now. And we're just like, ping to the agenda that's going to take over the world. Slingshot. Thank you. We got a little rock And we've been practicing. We've been practicing. You know, we're just going to take that little slingshot, and we're just going to go, pa! And that big, scary giant, that big, scary monster, like, that's all you got to do. And that's the Aries part of the chart. Where's your signature? Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow with some more jolly news. We're the little Davids. The agenda's the big, scary giant. You know, and we'll talk about something more fun tomorrow. We'll talk about Jupiter stationing to go direct. How about that? In Cancer, you know, we'll talk. I'll do the whole 12 signs tomorrow with Jupiter. When did Jupiter arrive in Cancer? When did it go retrograde? That whole shebang. Um, yeah, yeah. But for now, it's this. It's this. Okay, you guys have a great Tuesday. If you'd like an astrology reading with me, send me an email at astrologydailydownload@gmail.com. Astrology Daily Download at gmail.com. And we'll communicate through email, get you your session set up, and rocking and rolling. God bless. Stay in grace.